Hi, everyone. My name is Morgan Kortlander. I'm a student at U of H, part of team 1097. And with me is Damon Spencer. And in a few moments, we should also have Natalie Pham in here with us. Okay, good. She's in the room. Okay, I'll go ahead and get started since she should be in the room with us dialing the Zoom now. So this is a discussion of our model for the people ruin everything problem. It was problem C on the 2022 SCUDEM problems. So in this presentation, we're going to primarily focus on our thoughts, our reasoning, and our experience the competition, rather than doing a repeat of our presentation. While not assuming any audience familiarity with the problem, so make sure to still explain a little bit. We're going to get into the judge feedback, and we anticipate about 5 to 10 minutes for questions afterward. And for those that wish to view our original presentation, it can be found on the Semioid channel. At the end, if anyone's interested, we'll try and post a link to that in the chat. So first, a little about us. As I said, I'm Morgan Kortlander. I'm an undergrad math student. I'm a post-bac senior, so I should be graduating this semester, and then going on to do a little bit more studying of computer science courses before hopefully applying to graduate school. Oh, hey, Natalie, great, you're in. My first degree was in geology. I worked on deep water oil rigs. And my interest in higher mathematics came about because I worked on oil drilling automation. And I didn't really understand a lot of the math that was being used, and it got me really interested. And that's kind of how it started. Natalie?
Hello, sorry for running late. So I'm Natalie Pham. I'm studying undergraduate math at University of Houston. So how my journey into mathematics started when I picked up a book titled 101 Careers in Mathematics at the library of University of St. Thomas in my freshman year. At that time, I had two engineering majors, so I do anything about mathematics. But after 2 years studying engineer, I love mathematics from formula in engineer. So I decided to transfer to math in UH. And because I was junior when I competed in 2022 Semioid, so I still have a chance to compete SCUDEM again in 2023. Now we go with Damon.
Hello, my name is Damon Spencer. I'm an undergraduate math student who is a senior. I'm graduating this spring. I also have a computer engineering major. And in the fall, I'm beginning an applied mathematics PhD somewhere in the US. I'll figure that out. April 15th is not here yet.
Okay, so some of the background on our participation, we found out about it from our coach, Professor Jaramillo at U of H. And prior to the release of the 2022 problems, we practiced on the parasitoid wasp problem that was from 2019. It was titled Chemical Espionage. And so this practice problem inspired us to choose problem C because we were already kind of familiar with the ecosystem modeling. And we chose to participate in the program to challenge ourselves to develop modeling skills. So go ahead, Natalie.
So let's talk about our goal in this competition. So in our model, we want to program the introductions of human into an existing ecosystem, that is the prey and predator system, and 2 is to access any lasting effect on these populations. For example, like we want to investigate, is there any possibility of extinctions appear on the predator population during the human invasion and on the predator population when human leaves. And next, we will go over some of verbal assumptions we made back then. First one is that when the prey population increased, because their food source increased, the predator food source increased, so the predator population also increased. The predator eat up their food, aka the prey. So the predator and the prey population decreases. The human occupation resulted in muting of prey anti-predator behavior and reduced predator activity via predator population reductions in area over time. As per the stipulation of problem, human presence has both rapid onset and egress. The next part of assumptions is that, like, because the energy exerting on anti-predator response decreases the prey's predation due to decreased opportunities of foraging and mating, the human presents suppressing predator action, so less energy can be spent on anti-predator response and more on foraging and mating. The population cannot tend towards infinity because of the limited environmental resources. The anti-predator response takes time to change. And the last one is the predator population is 5 times as many prey to support it.
Okay, and sort of discuss our assumptions. I hope that kind of gave a good summary for those that weren't familiar with the problem. Most of them were explicit or implicit with the problem premise. We did choose to center a stable predator population on a 5:1 ratio with the prey population by intuition rather than a real world example, since a model could be adjusted accordingly, and that's kind of what felt right. And we also chose to add the carrying capacity. Hypothetically, the predator population could keep the prey population in check and vice versa, but the human interaction really added a significant risk of the prey population exploding, and it felt more realistic. We also had an implicit assumption that we kind of realized afterward, that the predator action would not be dependent upon prey scarcity. For instance, they might have taken more than they needed to eat when prey was abundant. So that could have been an interesting addition, but it also would have added complexity. And as we probably know, complexity can be bad for interpretability, even if it might give us a more accurate model. And so I'll let Damon kind of sum up the equations that we used, and since he is very good at condensing the ideas.
Our model is inspired by the Lutka-Volterra equations and the logistic population model. We felt this was a natural choice for our model. We heavily modified both of those equations to make our model. And the slide below, the slide includes the Lutka-Volterra equations right here. R is the prey population and P is the predator population. The group parameters are for growth and death rates. We also have the logistic population model on this side. R is the per capita growth rate, X is the population, and K is the carrying capacity. So this right here, this is a function modeling the decrease in anti-predator response with the introduction of humans. HN, the function is A of t, and HN and H out are functions expressing the entrance and exit of humans, respectively. There, we've used time-shifted Heaviside functions in order to do so. So the Heaviside functions, we have 0 whenever it's less than the tau value, 1/2 whenever it equals the tau value, and 1 whenever it's greater than a tau value.
And we'll go over these parameters in a bit when we get to the table of parameters. Don't worry.
This creates some discontinuities, but MATLAB is very good at accommodating that.
Yeah, as we have in this slide right here, we'd actually considered using time-shifted sigmoid functions instead, but Heaviside just seemed a lot simpler, and we wanted to minimize complexity.
Our time unit of the model is in weeks. We have the rate of changes of the prey population as dr over dt equals alpha r minus beta pr times r 1 minus r over the carrying capacity of the prey. Alpha is a constant for the birth rate, beta is a constant for the death rate, and we also have the carrying capacity of the prey, which equals the maximum carrying capacity minus 5 times the predator population. So as you can see, the system supports less prey whenever there are more predators. We also have an equation
for the predator population here. Oh, go ahead, Damon, sorry.
Yeah. We also have an equation for the predator population right here. dp over dt equals delta pr minus gamma p times p 1 minus P over the carrying capacity of the prior population. Delta and gamma are birth and death rate constants respectively. And as you can see, the carrying capacity of the prior population equals 1/5 of the prey population.
And here's our table of parameters. We're not going to go too much into these. We just want to display it so we make sure that, if anyone had any particular interest in one of the parameters, wondering what they were, they can see them. But if you would like to view more explanation of this, our original presentation on the Semio channel is available. But the most important ones were our initial values as part of this problem, the entrance and exit time here, and also including the coefficients for the anti-predator response from the human introduction. Go ahead, Damon.
So right here, we have a visualization of our simulation. As you can see, the prey population increases rapidly initially, and then the predator population increases a little bit too. But whenever the introduction of humans occurs, the prey population increases much more, and then the predator population drops. So that's the effect of the introduction of humans. The predators are cut off from food, and the prey are allowed to grow rapidly. Whenever the humans leave, the predators are allowed to grow back, and then the prey, they kind of die off. They go back to their normal population.
Okay, so here's a discussion of our model limitations. So we did see that there was a distinct change under the influence of humans, but one of the limitations was that the anti-predator response was kind of considered as a baseline effect removed by the human presence rather than learned behavior. So a potential solution for that in a project where we want to increase the complexity and explore it more was that the anti-predator response could be written as a function of both the predator population and previous duration of predator presence to better simulate prey learning and the persistence of behavior. And we also did not show the strong oscillatory nature of pred-prey interaction that you expect from Lotka-Volterra equations models, as well. We'll also discuss that more in a bit. And potential solution for that was more closely mimicking the Lotka-Volterra model to start, and maybe going with more incremental changes, just slowly incorporating the anti-predator response and then getting a model more similar to the expected oscillations before we even add the human effect. So I guess in that case, we kind of got a little ambitious too soon. And then another limitation was that we had potential resource exhaustion from the, that means we have 2 minutes until our question time. Resource exhaustion from the rapid increase in prey pop after the introduction of humans not being modeled. So we could add in resource exhaustion effects by adding a decay term to the prey carrying capacity that increases the longer the prey population stays close to the maximum prey carrying capacity. So like if you have an overpopulation of herbivores and they eat up all of whatever vegetation that they subsist off of, it's not going to be able to have as many of them in the long term. That's going to have a decrease because of that resource loss. And since the stipulation was that the introduction of humans to the environment was rapid, as well as their evacuation, we did just use a simple step function. In a more complex model, we could consider using the sigmoid function that we mentioned earlier, and we could either dilate or compress it appropriately to have a more gradual or rapid onset. And populations were asymptotic at the extreme values, so the extinctions did not get simulated here. And a potential solution was to penalize the birth rate non-linearly at the low population to get more of a tipping point, like as discussed in that bifurcation talk yesterday. So go ahead, Damon.
We have some conclusions that we reached. Our model showed a predator-prey environment that reached an equilibrium before the introduction of humans and equilibrium with human presence. We also had a return to equilibrium after a human presence. We were able to simulate an ecosystem that recovered after an anthropogenic change. The pre-human equilibrium didn't have as much oscillatory behavior as we initially expected, but did simplify the model in terms of human effects. Since at t greater than 250, we no longer had to worry about the point in the predator-prey oscillation where humans were introduced. We chose a few simplified functions under build our model, but we think there's a lot more potential for predictive capability if we add more model complexity, but there will also be a trade-off in the ease of interpretation.
Okay. And as for our feedback from the judges, go ahead, Natalie.
So we do conclude some feedback from the judge. So the first one is that we have no exploration of the model when parameter change. The second is why so few oscillations in our model. And last is we need more visuals. So, so go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. So for the first one, we think about the future addition can we make is that we will add the analysis of stability or the purification study to compare different results. We can think about run into time constraints, or we would have liked to include results with the visuals generated by the tools demonstrated in the discrete dynamical system tab.
For anyone that was there for that one, they had those tweakable, like you were able to change the number of iterations, for instance, in a Mathematica app that they had made. So something like that would have been really cool. If anyone has any questions at this time, could you type them in chat? So we kind of have them queued up since we're running close to time because we had the connectivity issues at the start. So for the no oscillations as part of our model, as we mentioned before, the Lotka-Volterra models generally have oscillations. And as we kind of discussed a little bit, we did consider this the biggest limitation in our model since we ran into time constraints, both in respecting the presentation 10-minute limit for the submission and scheduled meetings between studying for classes. We didn't get a chance to address this as much as we would have liked. We do suspect that some of this could be addressed, like as we mentioned before, with the more incremental development, and also with the end goal of adjusting the model sensitivity in particular. Looking back, we can see the system is not very sensitive. The human effect takes a bit for it to really be, the effects to really be seen once the interaction starts, and the predator population showed the high resilience, that asymptotic population behavior that we saw. So, it didn't collapse even though it got very low. And bifurcation stability analyses mentioned before would have helped to assess this. So this is the example of the classic Lotka-Volterra oscillations. This is the one that you'll even find on Wikipedia, but this was the one cited in our primary source for researching the Lotka-Volterra model. This is the Hudson Company or Hudson Bay Company plot of the heron lynx population. So yeah, even if you look on Wikipedia, that's what you'll see for Lotka-Volterra. So go ahead, Natalie.
So for the last feedback by George is that more visuals need. The reason is that we put a lot of focus on explicating the math behind the model, and it took the majority of our time. In future competition, we will try to include more visuals. However, since they illustrate the subject, so it can help hold the audience attention. For the lesson we learned from our experience, we can focus discussion on only most important aspects of the model, such as mathematics. And we can limit background discussion, and we can allocate more time to look at the different results and record them on visuals. And the very thing important here, that is the time management.
Mm-hmm. So this was our now we're going to talk about our experiences creating the model, and yeah, we're starting to run out of time, so we'll kind of have to speed it up a bit. So yeah, we took time to think up and test it, but it was fun. We really liked working as a team, getting to know each other, and it challenged us to self-study. And we had some individual experiences. I got a deeper appreciation for analytical methods by using the numerical methods in MATLAB and seeing how it changed with iterations. I'm sure some of you know math students and math people that kind of give the stink eye to numerical methods compared to an analytic methods. But, this really gave me more of an appreciation for the numerical methods. And Natalie?
Yeah, okay, so what we get from the competition, Morgan, I think each of us can talk about the edifying experience. So start at you.
So I was able to test out lots of different ideas in a short time period. That was kind of fun for me.
Okay, so with me is that the chance to practice time management and manage workflow in critical time point, and I improve my stat foundation by reading articles.
Yeah, and overall, we developed our additional skills in MATLAB, LaTeX, and collaboration on Overleaf. As you can see, this is actually what we're using to present here. This is our presentation as composed in Overleaf. So these were our references used. Again, in our original presentation, you can glance at those if you'd like. Thank you for listening. So time for questions. Let's see. We do have a question chat from Matt. See, close, it wouldn't make too much difference. Yeah, that's true. It might not have, changing it to sigmoid might not have made that much a difference, since it did seem to give that good transition just using the heavy side. And yeah, here's the population of the prey could influence human interest in entering the environment. For example, the effect on human agriculture from the large populations on the prey or the predator. Yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason why not. We just were trying to not have too much complexity in our model, but there absolutely could have been additional interactions from, say, the attractiveness of the prey or predator species, providing something else to the humans. So thanks everyone for listening.
Yeah.
Enjoy the next presentation, and I hope you guys liked ours.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Thank you.